So Measure 6 is also widely known as the gas tax repeal. And this measure would amend state law so that any increase in gas taxes or vehicle registration fees must be approved by the voters and cannot be simply made by the legislature. The measure is also retroactive to the beginning of 2017. And so if it does pass, it would wipe out 2017 legislation that already increased gas taxes and vehicle registration fees and devoted that money to transportation infrastructure spending. This particular measure has an interesting history. It grew out of the initial unpopularity of the 2017 legislation. They also argued that the measure was fundamentally regressive. Not just that it was unfair to the average taxpayer, but that it was particularly unfair to low-income people who do tend to spend more of their budgets on transportation. The counterargument there is that people who spend more time on transportation also are particularly likely to benefit from improvements in transportation infrastructure, including both improvements to roadways and improvements to transit. So the support for this measure has come from an interesting range of sources, including significant donations from national Republicans who see a link between this particular measure and their desire to hold on to the House of Representatives. The opposition comes from a wide range of groups, including the Chamber of Commerce, labor groups, local government, the California Democratic Party, and, interestingly, environmentalists. And environmentalists who typically don't want to see massive amounts of spending on roadways support this particular measure for a couple of reasons. One is that they see a slight increase in the gas tax as creating an incentive for people to do something other than drive. And the other is that a lot of the money spent under this measure will go to transit and will go to other forms of transportation improvements that are actually designed to reduce emissions associated with vehicles and to help the state meet some of its climate and air quality related goals. So the bottom line with this measure is that you should vote in favor of it. In other words, you should vote yes if you think that California should not be spending more money on transportation infrastructure, or if you think that that spending should occur, but should come from general funding, in other words, general taxpayer funding, rather than gas taxes or vehicle registration fees. And if you think that the money should be spent on transportation infrastructure and that the spending should be funded by the people who use our roadways most heavily, then an increase in gas taxes and vehicle registration fees makes sense as a way to fund those improvements, and your vote should be a no vote.